Hi guys, this is Arndt from Königsmark, and I would just like to give you a sneak preview of a new plugin I was working on, which is called the myIES designer. IES files, as you might know, are used to define the light emitted from realistic light sources. And my idea was to ease the process without having to search for the IES file you like to use. Instead, you can just create your own inside Cinema 4D. So basically, there are several different concepts how to do this in a graphical way. So you can see that here I'm using this kind of curve setup for the upper and the lower hemisphere of a light source, which is here somewhere in the middle. And of course you can decide whether you like to have just light having to one side or both sides. And you can define exactly how the light should be emitted from that light source. So just by using these curves. So this is just one of the methods you can use. Beside that, you can also use just any kind of polygon object. The plugin will just measure the distances between the virtual light source and the surfaces, and interpreting the distances as intensity of light. So basically, when there's a polygon nearby, so that means that at that direction less light is emitted compared to a polygon that is further away from the light position. So this kind of curve setup can be defined by yourself using all these kind of points and tangents. After that you can mesh this, so basically using the hull of these polygons as similar to a ray of light, so to say. So after that is meshed, you can define the amount of samples you like to use, or you can of course continue to shape and subdivide these shapes using just normal Cinema 4D modeling tools. So let's say in this case I'm just saving the IES data to disk. Just saving this to my desktop. After that is done, you just pick a normal light source, switch it over to be an IES light, head over to the photometric tab, and there you can load the IES file, which I grab. Here it is from my desktop. And you can see here is now the definition of the light source as we have just done this with our light hull. Beside this mode, you can also use simple splines, especially if you have a spotlight, maybe something in the ceiling going down. And again, you can define the opening angle of the light source, and you can define how many different kind of rays you like to have in that cone. If the center of the cone should be covered or not. And you can also add radial spikes, as I have named them, similar to what you sometimes see as a light pattern on the ceiling when you have these built-in spots. So yeah, basically you again can create simply a spline object from this, which can be further shaped. So you can see that you can that the movement is restricted, so you can just move them along their original direction if you have switched that option on. And the longer the bars get, the brighter the light is in that direction. So it's just easy at that. So again, I'm using save IES file. I'm just replacing the old one with the new one. Get a light source. Switch this to be an IES file. And load my IES file. And here you can see exactly that light pattern that we've just defined. Just let me add some geometry so we can have a look at the light pattern. You can see it here already. As always with Cinema 4D files, moving around the wrong object. I wanted to rotate the light. You can see that the Z direction of the light is always the direction used also by the IES file. Here you can see those spikes. So if I move them close enough to the ceiling, you can see that this is the typical pattern you get from special light sources. Of course, the width and number of spikes can be defined by the designer. And of course, you can dim the light any way you like. You can also deactivate the fall off if you don't like that. So basically everything as you are used to with normal light sources. Yeah, this is just meant to be a short sneak peek of what I'm working on. So hopefully you like it, find this useful. This will be a product released in a couple of weeks in my shop. So just head back there if you're interested, and I will take care to do some more how-to videos in the future, so you get a better idea about all the options you have. Okay, take care.